Now, what up, you guys? We are back with episode 2 of Ty Squared. I'm Ty. How are you doing, Ty?
I'm good, Ty.
All right, so we're laughing, starting off a little jovial because today's episode is going to be a little heavier topic. We try to do a range, or what I aim to do is a range, or we are aiming to do, sorry, a range of diverse topics. And, just kind of make it natural, like our everyday conversation on the phone. So, before we get started, how are you doing today? Everything going fine, Ty?
Yeah, everything's going good. I'm pretty chill so far. How about you?
Still feeling a little under the weather, but I don't know. I'm kind of like in between because, I told you I went to the doctor last month, and usually when they give me steroid and antibiotics, like it works. And I noticed when I was on the vacation, I was feeling a lot better, and then I got here, and then I clocked back into work, and all of a sudden I was sick again. So
That's the
yeah.
job. Yeah.
Yeah. But I am kind of looking for something part time at this time. So if anybody has any recommendations, drop down in the comments. Let me know. Because we are looking, something ideal would be like, especially remote, because I'm still going to be staying at my job. It's just in that slow season. But neither here nor there. Other than that, we just, one day at a time. That's what adulthood is all about. So with that being said, let's get into this situation with the DJ and dancer Twitch. For those who don't know, he worked alongside Ellen, I believe, for 10 years, I want to say, on his studio, in her studio. He was discovered by her online, and there's been a lot of controversy, a lot of drama over the last 2 weeks of him over him, his wife, people having their opinions online of her and her book, his friends and family coming out and slamming her, saying, a lot of stuff. So we just kind of want to break that down. We both kind of researched the video, and I have some talking points that I kind of want to hit on from, excuse me, my point of view, and then Ty will expound all that. So with that being said, the first bullet point I kind of want to hit on is a lot of people were addressing the fact that, how dare she do this to him, and um, in terms of when she posted her photo, I believe it was nearly two. I believe it was a year and a half later after he passed away. She posted a simple photo with, it was a shadow of her and someone else. It could have been Twitch, but it could have been her new man as well. People were alluding to it being her new man. And a lot of people have been giving her backlash for that. And I see the same thing with Lauren London and the whole Nipsey Hussle situation. And it's like eventually these women have to move on with their damn lives. So, and it's just annoying because if this was a guy, nobody would be questioning it. It would be all supported and, oh, we're glad he's moving on. And I truly do feel that way. But I can kind of see where people are coming from if they know a little bit more context of the situation. Allegedly, the wife and her current man weren't separated slash divorced at the time she first posted the photo of the shadows. So if that's what's going on, then I can kind of understand that. I kind of want to get your opinion on that, Ty. How do you feel about people dating if they're separated? Like, and to be clear, when I say separated, like we're literally just either we're waiting on a divorce, maybe one person is holding up the divorce, maybe it's just a court thing, but this is a situation where the two people that were married, they no longer want anything to do with each other. They could still be good friends, but they're not sleeping together, not still dealing with each other. There's no hope of reconciliation. How would you feel if somebody's dating and they're separated in that type of dynamic? Do you think that's
Hey,
wrong and they should wait until the marriage is totally um, diluted? Or, do you kind of look at it like, hey, you got to do what you got to do?
I look at it as you got to do what you got to do. That's their business. If they have a mutual agreement to where, we are done, this marriage is over, there is no reconciliation, like you said, we are not coming back from this.
Mhm.
and they both are moving on, even though they don't have the settlement just yet, then I personally think it's fine because, why not? Especially if there are kids involved and the both of y'all have that agreement and understanding once again, what's the issue?
Yeah.
Because there's nothing left to do there. There's no more trying to build a bridge. There's no more coming together. Y'all both have decided it's done. So I don't see an issue or a problem.
Okay. I could agree with that. I think so. Um, so question, you mentioned kids. I just kind of want to get your take on this. What do you think about how long it should be that you're dating someone before you bring or they bring someone around their children?
Like in the situation of if me and someone else has a child and they start
Just it
dating.
could be you and somebody else, or if just, in general, how would you feel? I tend to, on topics like that, whatever I'm gonna think towards somebody else's example, I would say the same for myself. Like, I don't believe in dating people with kids as a person who's childless, but if I was going to date them, whatever I would think the appropriate time is for us to date beforehand, that's what I would say would be the standard for anyone. For me, I do think me personally, if I had to put a number on it, I think if you're dating someone, and when I say dating, I mean locked in. Because month one, a lot of y'all be doing 2 month anniversaries, and it's like, y'all really made it concrete at the end of the first month. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't think there's nothing wrong with serial dating and they shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket. But once you lock down with somebody, I would say if y'all been together, I think 4 or 5 months, and y'all have at least had a talk about whatever y'all's ending looks like, because monogamy is not for everyone, marriage is not for everyone, but if this is something that y'all are serious about, then I think within 5 6 months, I don't think it's a problem, you know having someone meet your children. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
things are really going good, then I could see 3 or 4 months happening as well. Because the reality is, this is somebody that if you're dating for the long run, they're going to be around. So you do want to see how your kids interact with them. But I do think there should be a time frame when for sure the situation is serious before you do that. What would you say your time frame you would think that might be?
Well, currently, like you, I also do not have kids and have not seen myself dating someone that does have children. But me personally, I would say at least 2 months, and that's on a very locked in basis.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a, cut and dry, here and there type situation. Like we are very, very locked in, tight knitted with each other.
Okay.
And that would be the time frame for me. And that time frame, the 2 months, would honestly just be you being around them with me being in present. That is nowhere near, oh, I trust you enough to like babysit them for a minute while I run to the store around the corner type stuff. No,
Yeah.
that's only introductions. Every time you're with them, you're with me, or vice versa, however the case may be. So
Yeah.
again, just maybe at least 2 months, but again, it has to be some solidified basis to it.
Okay. I get with that. I actually think I just thought about something for our next episode after this. But neither here nor there. We'll circle back around to that once we get off. So my next bulletin point was I have kind of mixed. I really don't have a dog in this fight, but in terms of just viewing the situation, um, I have kind of mixed feelings about how if she's right or wrong with her approach with the book. I do feel that she has the right to tell her story, but in my notes I put all caps her story. I don't know how I feel about, and I want to get your viewpoint on the fact that she also revealed that he may have had an addiction problem. And a lot of her friends have came out and actually said it's her. We will certainly rock on that. Or their friends. Well, his friends, by proxy, her friends because they're married. But um, how do you feel about her coming forth and saying that, as well as revealing that he was sexually assaulted? On one end,
Well,
I kind of feel like, sorry not to cut you off. I kind of feel like, on one end, I do feel like when it comes to assault and things like that, people do need to be more vocal about it so it's less taboo. But then I'm also in my cynic. brain am like, people are never gonna not be taboo about certain stuff, and I think sexual assault is one of them. Like men or society as a whole, which is led by men, is getting better with how they react and respond to victims. But I mean, there's still people defending Diddy to this day. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like I don't know how to feel about that per se. But what is your opinion about that? Her the revealing that.
So to start off on my viewpoint of things, first off, no judgment upon anybody. You know, this is just my opinions on the whole situation in total. So no judgment on her, and God bless, no judgment on my behalf upon Twitch. As far as her writing that book, like you said, I 10% agree. That should be her story, just her viewpoint, her side, how she sees things, how she felt, what she went through, just including her and herself alone.
Yes. I also want to cut in and mention real quick. She also put his personal journal pages in the book. I'm not
Hmm.
talking about quotes. I'm talking about she ripped these pages out or had them copied and put in her book. Would you
Yes.
say that is her story as well, or do you feel like that's actually his?
To me, that is his story. If you did not know this information about him and you did not find out until you started reading his journals,
Mm-hmm.
to me, what makes you think it is okay for you to then expose his innermost personal deep thoughts and feelings to the entire world when he didn't even share that with you, his own wife?
Yes.
Not just that, but yes, granted B, you are his wife and you of course have say so and jurisdiction in certain things and aspects pertaining to him, such as this, but he still was a very well loved and known man from his family and his friends. So you
Mm.
exposing this information to the entire world where his own mother did not even know, and again, you didn't even know. I feel like that's very selfish. And if there is an end game for her that does not coexist with her trying to do the whole mental wellness thing, then it's just evil.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's just not right. I do not agree with that at all. Like I said, you only write about your personal experience, and if let's say the family, including his mom, did have a say so. Well, we do want to green light this and let the world be aware of what happened and the issues that this can cause. Then by all means, by
Yeah, if it was
then,
like
then
a
yeah,
partnership thing, then it would make more sense. So you actually mentioned something
definitely.
I want to jump on is the family. And something that's interesting about that, oh my God, I had a point. I lost it. Oh, I was going to say, now I want to put this out there. For me personally, now, had this been a different situation where she was abused, and I'm gonna say it, this is just me saying this straight up. If she was abused, and not crying white woman, because we know what it means, so let's not act brand new. But if she was abused, and there was actually legitimate cause to that, then by all means, I'd be like, air this motherfucker out. So, I just want to say that for me personally. I do not believe in protecting the legacy of abusers. But being that that's not what this seems to be, well, we'll get more into like my final viewpoint on it, but this seems to be it just seems a little weird, this situation. I want to move on though to TMZ and their claims via the NDA that Allison is the only one who can profit off of his legacy. So any memoirs, books, interviews, anything that pertains to Twitch, as his wife, she is going to receive the monetary gain from that, even if his family comes out. And these are NDAs that were signed for them to view his body at his funeral. What do you think about that?
That
Now, her real quick, I want to say she said she was advised that the NDA was the smart thing to do. She didn't want to wake up one day and her kids see pictures of Twitch in his casket online, which I mean, I feel like a funeral is an intimate thing. I want to think that you're not inviting anybody who would do that, but I mean, people are weird nowadays. So you never know. Your friend of 10 years could end up to be the fakest hoe ever in the world. You never know. But what do you think about that?
I'm with that subject. I feel like it's kind of iffy and touch and go. Again, back to what I was stating before. If she has no ill intent or malicious reasoning behind them signing the NDA, then I can definitely understand that just for the safety um for her kids later on in the future and just respect for the family and Twitch himself altogether, then I don't see the issue or the problem with the NDA, me personally. But
What do you think about the profiting, like the
now
memoir, books,
that
interviews?
part
Because I
is
believe that if one of my loved ones, like, I do music, if my music were to take off, I don't think any of my loved ones should be able to not speak out if y'all are, about how it was interacting with me and stuff like that. I wouldn't want to deprive y'all of that. And if I did have a friend, I have other friends to do music. If their music were to take off, I wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? I
mm,
don't think that should be an issue. But
no,
how do you
no.
feel about that?
That should I'm 100% with you on that. That shouldn't be an issue either. I would want someone to raise their voice about me too, honestly.
Yeah, like even the fact that his mom, and she had, I mean, people can say, I once had, I want to kind of mirror this. People can say, there's always a choice at the end of the day, but prime example, I had somebody who had to get a AD. They ended up preggers, and the family was not going for it. And looking back, they were dead ass right. But nonetheless, because now this person has more children than one, and it's weighing on her. But neither here nor there. At the time, it was you get this and you get rid of it, or you get out of this house. Although somebody could say that she still made a choice, it is kind of backing someone into a corner. And I wanted to kind of mirror that into with the mom and the NDA, because I'm sure there are some people who, just to be contrarian or to be a little harsh, may say, well, the mom side of the NDA, it is what it is. And I get being logical from a legal standpoint in certain situations, but if I'm not going to see my son's body, if I don't sign this because of his wife, I, you know what I'm saying? That might be a moment that a mother wants.
And
Sorry,
not
dad, in
to
this
cut
situation,
you
but
off, I apologize. I just wanted to say I completely agree with that one. As his mom, you should, and from what I've looked into and overheard, for him and his mother relationship to be so tight knit and close to each other, I just, for her to sign it, that's where that 50-50 comes in with me. I that is just no, I don't agree with that one.
agree with what? Her signing it or her having to sign it?
Her having to sign it because
Yeah,
this is my son. It's not like, I gave him up for adoption and didn't care about him and
yeah.
I'm just not hearing this. That's my son. We've been close, since he was born.
Hmm.
For me not to sign this and being threatened to not see his last viewing is crazy.
Yeah. She also claimed the foundation that she's advocating for with the mental health stuff will receive all proceeds. However, she only mentioned that after the backlash, not initially when she started promotion for the book. Do you have any thoughts on that? Because I do feel like there's this gray area where people just may forget to say things. I don't think that just because you conveniently left something out, like you have to kind of know somebody and be able to read their energy before you just say, oh, you knew you was full of shit when you did X, Y, and Z. So I can see where some people are like, oh no, you didn't mention it before, so let's not talk about it now. Like you're obviously lying. But do you think what do you think about that?
And you said the promotion, right?
Hmm. Yeah, she started promoting her book, I think a couple months ago. And well, a couple weeks ago, I'm thinking, because that's when all this been embroiled, but or imploded. But she only claimed the foundation will receive the proceeds from the book until then, and then we're jumping ahead a little bit. But she did say something in the phone call that was recorded with one of the friends, and I have some notes on that as well. But she did say I deserve, it's something to the effect of, I deserve this, I deserve blah, 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 this, that, and the third, X, Y, and Z. And it does kind of give a bit of entitlement, which I mean, to an extent, that is his wife. So it's kind of put me in that, if I had to view it from the outside looking in, it is kind of a rock and a hard place. Because this is
It's
somebody you legally bound yourself to. We like to romanticize marriage a lot, and especially in American society, but at the end of the day, this is a legal binding contract. So there are things that you are handing over that some people may not even know they're handing over before, they sign those papers and get married. Because a lot of us are just looking at the ring and the romanticized standpoint of it. But this motherfucker can decide if your plug is pulled if you end up in the hospital in a life or death situation, and your mama can't do shit about it. You know what I'm saying? So I think these are things that we need to consider before just coupling and mating and partnering with everyone.
but like you said, even your best friend, you could wake up the next day and they just be a complete menace.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm never saying that to say we shouldn't give people hell. We wouldn't be here doing this podcast if we didn't give each other a chance on friendship, and we really haven't. I'm sure we'll have bumps in the road, but we really haven't had major or any really bumps. And we've been friends, what, I believe, what, 2 years?
Hmm.
Yeah. So that's just something to think about. I did want to point out that Ellen was canceled, um, or ended, um, May 2022, and his suicide was 12/22. So I do want to say, I'm not sure about the drug allegations, but I mean, if he and Allison were having as many problems as the friend said, then that could be an indication that him going to Ellen, being able to be jovial, dancing, just having a good time,
That
that
was
was
his
more likely his
escape.
mistake. Yes. Hmm.
Hmm.
And let Allison tell it. The mother and him did not have a good relationship. But as more and more friends come out, these are friends of his for like 10 years. These are people that know him. They're connected to him. They're in photos with him. Like, they know him. It seems like he might have been suffering in silence. Um,
And to kind of piggyback off of what you just said, the
mhm.
wife is saying he was not close to his mother, but then everyone else that has known him for years on end saying that he is close to his mother. I was thinking about that because it's like, you got one side of the story, of course, and then you have the other side, which is which. So I was thinking maybe also it could be more of a gray area. All his friends were saying him and his wife were having these issues and these problems in their day to day life. Could it have been possible that he did not want his mother around him only when she was present? Like
Yes,
some of the friends were saying, they only came around only when it was just them and him, not
yes.
with her. So she might be telling the truth
But
in the
they could
fact
also be
of,
telling the truth as
yeah,
well. Hmm.
yeah,
I would say there's some merit to that. And I'm going to touch on the racial aspect here and there a little later. But one thing I will say, and I'm not going to argue anybody's this, black men in interracial relationships will allow their non-black women, as much as they say they want quote unquote fit, friendly, and feminine, they will get with a blubberback whale with the nastiest attitude. Now, by no means is Alison that. She is a decent looking, she's a pretty little white woman. I give her that. Um, she'd be considered a mild, or not mildly, but she'd be considered societally attractive. So I'm not saying she's that, but what I am saying is black men are known to get in relationships with these non-black women and let them wreak havoc. So there's no telling, like you said, it could be a dynamic where he's saying one thing to this person, but telling Allison this, that, and the third. And meanwhile, he's suffering essentially in silence, which I know it sounds a little harsh to say, but I would have to say that is a choice at the end of the day. So again, we do need to watch who we're getting in relationships with and partnering with. And, notice little things, pay attention, why is this person not wanting me to converse with my parents or my family? Whatever the case may be.
hmm,
Um, Speaking of the racial aspects, I do want to touch on Candace and her comments. Now, I am not, I am the person when it comes to my blackness at this point. I just allow everybody else to do what they want to do. For me personally, I'm not comfortable with non-black people saying the N-word around me. But if you are as a black person and that works for you, that's fine. I'm not judging you. I would prefer you not have your friends that do that around me because that might be a problem. But, everybody do their own thing. If you don't want to take the word nappy out of your vernacular, I don't know why we can't just say kinky or coarse, but hey, that's you, that's your business. So I just kind of let everybody be where they're at. And I find black people that kind of fall in line with what my ideals are, at least on the most important parts. But for me personally, I do not endorse the one job rule. I am not going to call Kamala black or Obama black because they are not just black. That is just me personally. I'm not arguing with nobody on that. I'm very logical when it comes to this. And for me, there is my point in saying that was Candace said that Allison was not protecting his black children or her black children in that black man's legacy. And like I brought up the interracial dynamics earlier, a lot of black men are not like Candace Dillard. Candace Dillard is with Chris, and I really think Candace could have ended up with a black man as well. She said that before. It just so happened that Kiss came in her life. And Chris is kind of one of those, he like I don't want to say wiggle, but he like a wother, he a little chill, he a little laid back. His demeanor is similar to a black man's in certain ways. So nonetheless, Candace is still somebody that advocates for black people. A lot of black men don't do that when they date out. They just a lot of them, in fact, are quite as kept, this is me saying this specifically. They are running from their blackness. So they're not worried about getting with a white woman that's going to care about black issues, this, that, and the third. Hell, some of them will sit there with their white woman and make fun of blackness and black people, black features, whatever. So I just caution people when they come out and have that standpoint because if Twitch wasn't fostering that type of environment when he was here with her, that may not be something that's important to her. Also, it would behoove black women that are dating interracially to just kind of sit this out, just for me and my personal standpoint, because I have seen black men online say worse about Lauren Smith Fields, who went on one date with a white man and ended up dead. So I've seen them say that Serena Williams should have died in childbirth with her complications because she's with a white man, as if she didn't try to date millions of black men prior to that, and none of them wanted to marry her. So I'm a person who believes in balance, and when I see certain scales tipping, I kind of want to call it out. That's just something that I wanted to make, an observation I wanted to make with those comments that Candace made. Still love her though, and Potomac is dying, so I don't know if they're gonna be able to resuscitate that. And at this point, Real Housewives of Atlanta has been gone for what, 2 years, 3 years? Damn. Um, I also want to touch on before we move on to Allison and some of her like weird ways that I kind of latched on to. Um, to kind of credit what I'm saying with a lot of black men are running away from that. In the same way that they're running away from their blackness, Manny Cross was the friend that has made one of the loudest noises in Twitch's honor or defense. He literally made a comment about white women fetishizing them as black men. I feel like for one, that's a dog whistle to send the community after these white women and or after these non-black women, and that's what I've been seeing. Like real talk, I'm not one to get in front of a white person that's getting their ass handed to them, but the way that I've seen people attacking Allison is just you're doing way too much, especially black women. And again, this is a black man that I mean, Twitch never said anything sideways about black men. Neither are black women, neither did his friends, to my knowledge. I'm not sure. I don't think so, though. But still, it's kind of like, he was with a non-black one. Like, this shouldn't really be a fight. Like, let the niggas take care of this. You know what I'm saying? That date out. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how I look at it. Especially being that that you said yourself, white women have a history of fetishizing black men. Why are you even fetishizing black men? So it's like you already know what this is. You know, it's kind of the same way older men get with younger women. The younger woman's there for resources. The older man is there for you and to use her, suck her youth initially and to get a little hot piece of ass on his arm. I hate to say it like that. That sounds very caveman like, but we know what it is. You know what I'm saying? So I just kind of treat when people try to throw dog whistles out there like that, I just kind of look at that situation a little deeper and ask, why am I going into mega mode over a situation that really ain't got shit to do with me? Um, yeah. that's kind of what I wanted to add there on the racial tip. Do you have anything to say, Ty?
I think you pretty much covered um the full heavy basis on as far as that subject goes, and I just
There
want
we
to put
go.
in there Manny, if I'm not mistaken, it was Manny. He said there can be a disconnect when you are dating outside of your race, and I agree with that, and I think that's for any race, not just us as black people, but just again in any race. There are certain
Customs
struggles
and
and
norms,
issues that not everyone knows a certain race face unless they are that race. So
or
for
in
to
proximity with them.
yes, 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 of any type of color.
Yes,
But
I agree with that. But I also think, like, for me, what gets annoying about that is that's also, again, and I'm not trying to blame him because he is gone, but who you mate with, that is a choice. And, like, for instance, my godson's mother, she's Haitian. He's German, Italian, Irish. When I say that household is pro black as fuck, like they don't play that shit. Hell, there was a scene on Love and Hip Hop where Shay, we're gonna get back on topic, but real quick, Shay, I believe it was, called Blue from Pretty Boy, Pretty Ricky, whatever. Yeah, Pretty Ricky, I think that's the name of the group. Um, but she called him a blue monkey. We laughed, and the white man was upset. Like, so she got him on lock. Like he I dare I say it, he might be invited. He invited to the cookout. I give him that. He invited to the cookout. I really don't give out too many cookout invitations, but that motherfucker invited. You know what I'm saying? So like, I feel like again, if it was important enough for you to get with a white woman who wasn't going to, there's always going to be gray areas. I don't care how pro something somebody is. You could be the most feminist man. You could be the most pro black woman. Everybody's gonna have their moment where they slip up and say something problematic or they have a blinder on for something. But at the end of the day, at the core, you getting with somebody that values blackness. If that's important to you in the moment, it will be important to you in the if that's important to you in the relationship. That is something that you will be seeking as you are dating. You know,
hmm
I don't want you to sit. I don't think that men, especially black men, should be able to sit here and play victim to that later on, when you knew you weren't getting with you know, I can't think of a white woman that's a ride or die like that for the culture. Maybe, I can't think of one. I'm sure there's a few. You know what I'm saying? But if you weren't getting with that at the beginning, you already knew what it was. So I just want to drive that point home a little bit. Moving on from there, though, I do want to kind of touch on some of Allison's weird ways. Now, baby girl, there, I'm calling you a cokehead. I'm gonna try to clean things up because I am trying to put this on YouTube. One day we may get monetized. So they are calling you a, a cola head. Mm-hmm.
hmm
They are also calling you a Molly, and I'm not talking about Molly soup. They say you partake in that. Um, they also said, baby, what else they said you do? They said you do. Oh yeah, they said you do. What did Megan
X
say in that line?
was X one of them?
Yeah, yeah. Xanax be their hardest bars. These niggas hate on BBS, but walk around with the same stuff. They said they said you do quite a lot, Allison. So I mean, that's just what they said. I'm just telling you what they said, girl. I'm not agreeing, but that's what they said. You said
Which
that
is
you do.
also crazy because if
So
the
they said
allegations are true and you are doing all these drugs or whatnot, why don't you put out there that you're also on this shit? Oh, excuse me, sorry. Can we say that?
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Why don't you put out there that you're also on this shit? Why would you put your deceased husband's information out there and in book also that, you found this, that, and the third, and you allegedly believe he was on this, that, and the third, but you're not yourself saying, oh, I am also on this, that, and the third. So it
Uh-huh.
kind of goes into what we were talking about earlier. I feel it's messed up to put his personal business out there on the line when you yourself are, at least as of now, not doing the same if the allegations about you being on drugs are true.
Uh-huh. I can agree with that. Um, Another weird thing that I clocked was the NDA to assign the funeral slash body. Multiple people have said it, and she did say that she did it, so that's not even alleged at this point. Like we touched on earlier, I understand the privacy concerns of not wanting footage of his body out there. However, if you felt that way, why are you then using his journal pages? Also, why not? And I'm gonna shout out Jamie, that's me, because I watched her video on this. Just to kind of get a series. I'm that type of person. I can watch something and still kind of formulate my own opinion, but I try not to. But with Jamie, she kind of just gives you the stuff. She'll give a little tidbit. She don't go as far with it unless it's something really passionate towards her or that she's passionate about. But shout out to her. But she did make a good point. Again, that's Jamie, that's me. Y'all make sure y'all follow her. Great black woman, great content creator. Um, yeah, just a lovely, lovely woman inside out. Her spirit. She's one of those content creators that you could tell you get a good vibe from them. But she said, why not get a security guard to stand at or near the casket if that was so important? That seems a lot less extreme to me than having to sign NDAs that you're also conveniently slipping in that, hey, only I can do memoirs, books, and interviews. So you're slipping that in the NDA as well. Um, and then also you're using his journal pages. That doesn't sound like protecting him, in my opinion. What would you have to say about that?
Selfish. Just selfish. Because again, I mean, I do understand the good aspects of, having people to sign the NDA. Understand that greatly. But then on the other, offside, again, pertaining to, I keep thinking of his mother. I mean, she has just as much as you're saying you have a right, you or his wife, his mom also has a right too to certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And just gaining from anything off of him personally, again, is selfish. What about his family? Not even his close friends that are close to him that are at this point like family, but his actual family. What about them? It's not
Mm-hmm.
just about you. Even though
Yep.
you had sole possession of certain things, you call the shots and stuff like that. Because again, you are his wife, so legally you are bound to have say so. But it's again not just all about you. Just because you have the power does not mean you should hold it all.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. I'm gonna wrap up 5 bulletin points in one. So let me try to do this. I'm neurodivergent as hell, so y'all give me a second. It's the ADHD in there, some depression, it's a bit of everything. All right. So cousin also affirmed they were signed to protect his legacy. That's what they were told. The cousin, as well as said, the family has not been allowed to see the children of Twitch and Allison. Um, the sharing of the actual journals and his entry in her book, that was something I found weird. Dropping his last name 48 hours after he passed on Instagram. I get, Instagram isn't everything. Like just because your account, usually when you go Instagram official, that's when shit start happening. But in this particular context, your husband suicide, or your husband took himself out. Child, this episode probably is not gonna be monetized anyways, given the topic matter. But your husband took himself out, and in 48 hours, you have taken your last name off your Instagram. I imagine one would not even be around Instagram within the second day after their spouse has taken it. So, I mean, everybody handles grief differently. And I mean, hey, you still got to pay the bills. So maybe she got brand deals she got to do. I don't know. But that specifically, you were on there taking your last name to your maiden name so quickly. That was something weird that I kind of clocked. And then also the brother hasn't seen his nephew and niece since 2022 of November outside of last year, December 2024.
Now,
So how do you feel about all of that? I tried to mix it in as smoothly as I could.
so just bring up a topic that I might overlook within me explaining myself like towards the end.
Gotcha.
So, because
We're going to push through,
my
y'all.
attention span is all over the place too.
I got you.
So, as far as where the kids go, um, I think to not even I think that she's fully accountable for that for them not seeing the family members
Uh-huh.
because
Now, I want to challenge this real
you,
quick before you
uh-huh,
continue. Remember earlier you said it may have been a dynamic where he's telling the friends one thing and he's telling her something. So obviously, if he's not comfortable divulging that, he's probably not sitting here and saying, "Hey, my kids need to see X, Y, and Z." Would you then still blame her for that dynamic not changing just because he passed? Because a lot of people feel like just because somebody passed away, I don't have to change how I'm operating. If I didn't F with you before the funeral, I don't F with you after. So would she be wrong in that if that's what the dynamic was? Because
from her viewpoint,
it sounds like
um,
if they saw the kids, it was when it was with him, not necessarily the two of them. If you get what I'm saying?
so from her viewpoint, if that's what the case is, then I I'm going to I'm going to say I don't fault her to an extent from her
Uh-huh.
viewpoint if that's what the case is. Again, um, what I really want to get into the nitty gritty of about the children and seeing their other side of the family is if that side of the family is reaching out to her and actively trying to see the children and trying to keep a relationship with them, trying to go out with them, trying to still have a rapport with them, even though that he is gone, and she's not allowing that to happen, then yes, 100% you are, well, she is at fault for that because
Okay.
it's not right, in my opinion, for you to keep these kids away from their other family members, their family. I'm pretty sure, she would let the kids go see her family side. So
Yeah.
why not let them see his family side again, especially if they are reaching out to her and trying to get in contact to her with her about the kids. Now, there is a video where she said, I believe one of the children didn't want to go see Twitch's mother, the grandma, and she would not explain why he did not want to see her. So there is some privacy and respect in, if that is the case and the child does not want to see, you know, their grandmother, but at the same time, yet they are still children. Not saying children doesn't have rights, of course, if
Hmm.
they don't want to see somebody, for a specific reason, of course, they shouldn't be made forced to, but at the same time, yet again, they are children. So, maybe if the situation isn't, if it's something simple like, oh, Nana wouldn't let me watch TV, after a certain point at night or something like that, that doesn't make her a bad person. You should still want your child to go see their grandmother.
Yeah. I got
So
you.
it
Or
just
do you?
depends as far as where that goes. But like I said, it all boils down to if the family is actively trying to reach out,
Hmm.
are you willing to let them see the kids? As far as
What do we think about the first 48?
oh,
No pun
whew,
intended. Oh my God,
get my
Tyson.
eagles on the
No, I should
phone.
have said that shit. Oh my God.
As far as the first 48 goes,
No, I
like
really
I
should have said that
said,
shit because I forgot to say earlier. A lot of the family doesn't feel it was a suicide. That's what they say, Alison. I'm just letting you know what they said. They don't feel it was a suicide because it was done with your gun. So I'm
with
just
it,
saying.
with her gun, that's what it was
Uh-huh.
alleged. So
But back to what I was saying about the first. I mean, oh my God, I said it. The 48 hours. Her
so
dropping his last name after 48 hours. What do you think?
like you said, everybody grieves differently, and upon
Uh-huh.
grief, you can go through the different stages at any point in time. And
Yes.
it doesn't always be in order with the 7 stages. It can be you go through 7, 6, 1, 2, 4, 3, stuff like that. It doesn't matter. Me personally, and I can't speak for her or anyone else, but me personally, I lost a significant other, and I sure as hell did not want to change my last name 48 hours. I mean, we weren't married, but had I had that last name, I
Yeah, you
definitely
probably would
wouldn't
have been
have
on your
changed it in
like
48
on your
hours.
mind. Yeah.
Because I know in 48 hours, I was still in shock and a mess. So I
Yeah.
did not have no type of social media or, anything on my mind other than, why God,
Mhm.
So
Okay.
I think That's crazy. I think that's crazy, but again, everybody grieves differently. And who's to say her writing this memoir and promoting herself and all this extra stuff that has transpired over the last 2 weeks? So who are we to say she's also using this as a current form of grieving itself?
Hmm.
Um, I don't think so. But who am I to
I can
say
see
she?
aspects of it. I struggle with seeing. I'm not gonna say that. I struggle with seeing certain people. I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say. It's a certain adjective. I'm not gonna say it though. I struggle with seeing certain people as having genuine emotions. So I'm not sure. But I mean, she could be a part of it. Could be her grieving. However, as we jump into these last quotes that she was quoted on, my God, Manny, next time you come with receipts, my brother. Well, you ain't my brother, but brother. Next time you come with receipts, I'm gonna need you to summation. Summation is your word of the day because you posted an hour-long video, and I'm thanking God for YouTube for the speed up time because there's shit struggling through that. Especially like he's one of those people. I can't remember what word he kept repeating, but it was like, and it was this, and then he was going into analogy about Iron Man and Captain America, and I was like, this sounds real sweet at the eulogy. Just get us what we need to get the information. I'm sorry. I don't need to sound sensitive. I mean, hey, talk, grieve, do what you need to do. But he was doing a lot. But two things that he caught that was very interesting that she said he should have stayed. She also said, I didn't have to stay and raise these kids. That's what it sounded like to me, what she said. He was trying to talk over her. So I want to be clear, he was talking over her. But I think I heard, I don't have to stay and raise these kids.
Now, I know what part you're talking about, and yes, they kept talking over each other. It was
Yeah,
hard to hear
it was
anybody's
annoying.
viewpoint,
It
but
was
definitely
annoying.
heard he should have stayed. Now, in the context of how she was saying it, I'm not really sure. I would
She
hope,
was saying he shouldn't have taken himself out.
yeah.
To
So
me,
back
that came off
to
a little dismissive and insensitive. Although, I mean, I see where somebody could say that. Like, you are a father, you have children. And, excuse me, from the way Manny was talking, which I am going to touch on that, with all the provider talk, because that was kind of annoying the shit out of me. But I will say, it does seem like Allison was just being a traditional housewife in a sense. Like, she was just there with kids. It doesn't sound like she was really doing much of anything. I'm not sure, but it wasn't what Twitch was doing, you know. But I'll let you continue. I just wanted to say that.
no, no, you're good. You're good.
Okay. What do you think
I
about her saying if she did say, in fact, I didn't have to stay here, stay and raise these kids? What do you think about that? Because that sounds like to me a mother who should have no problem handing her kids off to family members if that's how she truly feels. I get saying stuff in frustration, but towards the children, I'm willing to me personally, I'm more willing to excuse her saying he should have stayed and worked it out. That's as insensitive as it sounds. With being that we're in a time of mental health and people talking about, how we need to be careful with our phrase, our language and things of that nature. I'm more willing to forgive that than if I actually heard her correctly say, I didn't have to stay and raise these kids. The same kids that you are allegedly keeping from their family.
Now I'm not
And that might
defending
just be
her.
what she needs
I'm not
is a break.
defending her in any type of way, but I
Hmm.
will say this is kind of a gray area for me as far as her saying that. And I only say that because, like we just said, they were literally talking over each other. Me
Yep.
personally, I know when I'm trying to get a point across and I'm heated and someone keeps talking over me, then yeah, certain stuff that I say is going to come off more aggressive, more abrasive, and it's not going to sound how I would traditionally have wanted it to sound. But due to the fact that he was literally on her ass when she was talking, I know that built up frustration. So with her saying he should have stayed, I can't tell if she was being dismissive about it or if she was,
Like a flip of the tongue.
feeling lost at the time, he should have stayed because, like I said, back to
Oh.
me losing an important person that I lost, my significant other at the time. I said stuff like that quite periodically, and even to this day, sometimes when I think of that person, I still say, you should have stayed, you should have been here, you shouldn't have left. But it's
Hmm.
not. on my side to be selfish or stingy or anything. You should have stayed to take care of these kids. No, you should have stayed. For whatever reason, you should have stayed to pay this car note. You should have stayed to help with these bills. You just should have been here regardless. It don't matter what the excuse is. So I don't know if she was being dismissive. I hope she wasn't. But even if she was being dismissive, it's not necessarily meaning she was being dismissive towards Twitch. She could have been being dismissive towards the conversation in total because again, great guy, love that he was being detective and, he is going out for his friend that is no longer here. But he was talking over her several times, even when trying to get an explanation out of her with certain stuff. He was, getting upset and in his feelings and not letting her continue to, tell on herself.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Um,
I don't have any say so as far as those two things that she said because I can't differentiate between are you dismissing Twitch or you're dismissing this person or you are in your feelings at the moment and it's not coming off how you want it to.
okay, I can see that. I do want to touch on his coworker real quick on Ellen. He said they worked together for 10 years, and he's quoted saying, an addict knows an addict. He personally was an addict himself, the coworker, and he said Twitch never gave him that vibe. He also did state, we never know what somebody is doing when no one is around, and that is very true. So, they also I also wanted to touch on the fact that drug tests can be altered and they can also, they can be altered. And then also, if he was using drugs, we do not know when that time period of him using it was. Now, one could guess that it might have been, if it's true, around after the time the Ellen show went off. Because like how we are seeing it, it seems like that was his escape. So, when one escape leaves, if he was using, you tend to need another escape to fill that in. Do
Hmm.
you have any thoughts on that?
Nothing, if I'm not mistaken, nothing came out or was said about him having substances in his body at the time of the autopsy, correct?
Yes. Hmm. And to be clear, I don't know what for her, if she was coming at this from a protective angle, I think she would have even approached it more. Like you could just say, in her memoir, I think if she had said, I do think people are gassing this because it's a white lady with a black man, and we know this community is going to protect a straight black man or a man they think is black and straight to the end of the earth. And I said it, standing on it, not arguing with y'all hoes. But I do think that if she had said addiction and just left it there, maybe that would be a little bit more palatable for me. Because, I've talked to you before. I drink quite a bit often when I am stressed. It is a lot. It's something I'm working on. But, someone could call that an addiction. It's alcohol. It's illegal. I think her going into the specifics and trying to say a box full of drugs and stuff, that's when it kind of gets in that area of, are you is this for you? Are you trying to heal? Is this genuine? It kind of comes off a little bit weird, if you get what I'm saying.
Yes, it does. Just like what we said before, you just posting this stuff out in general, out in the open is just weird in itself. And again, just saying this personal stuff, it didn't have to be said. Like you were saying, she could have left it open ended.
Yes,
Addiction. Nobody, everybody probably would have guessed drugs. Saying the word addiction and then,
absolutely. But
huh?
I say of some sort, probably absolutely. But it is a
Oh
bit
yeah.
more, I would
But
say,
it's
politically
more open
correct
ended. You can be
given
addicted to
the.
anything, like you said. You could
Oh yeah,
so call say that your
some
alcohol
people are
consumption.
addicted to the gym. Shit,
Yes, to the gym.
biting nails.
Me
I used
personally,
to be
I'm
addicted
addicted
to
to
that.
sleep when I can get it.
I think that's all of us. So moving on from there, I want to touch on two quotes that Twitch's mom said in her Instagram post. She said, at one point, she said, "We are focused on healing and attempting to remain connected to her grandchildren." That is what she's focused on. So that gives me the inclination that she is trying to reach out to Allison, and she's trying to stay as close as she can to them. She also said, "Our family will ensure his name and memory are protected, and we are committed to defending his honor." And I heard it and felt it before Jamie said it, but I do want to give her credit again. She said to her, that sounds like there may be some legal battles that may ensue from this. Um, that wording in specific, we are committed to defending his honor and making sure his name and memory are protected. Do you think that could be a possibility that's coming down the pipeline as far as them legally going after Allison? And if so, what do you think about that?
Legal wise, the only thing I can think, I know there is something or things, but at the moment, defamation of character, would that technically go along the lines of something that they could do legal wise? Because if,
I'm not sure because
because he's
I'm
deceased and
yeah, and then also even if he was alive, I'm not sure. Like, I mean, if you can prove somebody was on something, you don't have. I mean, you're defaming them either way, but if you can prove it, then it's true. So I'm not sure. That would be a good question for somebody with that expertise. I can argue all day, but I am not a lawyer.
I'm not sure what type of legal action they could take because, like you said, I am not a lawyer. I wouldn't be in potential trouble that I could be in now. Wink, wink. But
Um,
if I were them,
yeah,
then
you good.
definitely, I would definitely seek some type of protection and justice because this is
I'm
just.
wondering if they even can do that though, because with the NDA being signed, it's
I
kind of
wonder
like
if there's a way around
you
that.
you kind of pigeonholed yourself. There's always a loophole for everything. I will say that. 9 times out of 10, there's a loophole. There's most contracts are ironclad. So, and then with her being so lax today's go, I mean, she could be a vindictive bitch. Who knows? But with her saying so last few days ago, I was advised over the NDA. This sounds more like a casual lawyer, not somebody who's, a shark out to get the family per se. The only thing I can say that's even remotely sharkish about the NDA is the fact that she's the only one who can profit off his legacy. But outside of that, I mean, there could be a loophole around it. I'm not sure. Um, Moving on from there, though, I do want to touch on a couple things Manny said. And then I'll touch on our takeaways. We'll wrap up. But I want to say, he did have audio proof of Allison saying, "I would make everyone sign the NDA again." And she said specifically, especially the mom. What do you think about that?
Mm, there is some bad blood in there between those two, and it
Mm-hmm.
does not sound good. So I don't too much. And please correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm missing a window or point of view
Mm-hmm.
um after I say this, but her saying that, I don't necessarily think she looks bad for saying it, especially morality wise. You look horrible for saying it, but anything other than that, I don't think that too much does anything because she's over here portraying oh, I'm protecting him and stuff like that, which is the need for the NDA. And then her saying, she would have anybody sign it again every day, especially the mom if she could. So it's like, it's how can you really fight her on that because she's saying one thing that she has good intentions, whether she does or she don't, we do not know. But for her to say again, anyone and everyone can sign it again every day, if she had to do it all over again, it just kind of like, to me, further backs herself up. Like it doesn't, it sounds wrong, but it doesn't shed any light into her being wrong, if that makes sense.
I think the only part for me, I could agree with that. I think overall, I think the only part for me is especially his mom part. And really, if the NDA was just a legal action will be taken if any footage of this funeral is released, I could get with that. The I could probably get with that. I'm more leaning towards just having security guards stand at the casket, like Jamie said in her video. But I could get with, okay, you have to sign this in order to attend. And the only thing is, if this gets out, legal action will be taken. The profiting off of his likeness, that is where it's a little weird for me. And then on top of that, especially the mom part. Um, but like you said, maybe their relationship is maybe it's strained. Um, some other quotables that he is listed quoting, and you just say anything that you might think is he asked her, what about all that cocaine and Mariana and ex you was on? And he also said, I never hung out with you because she tried to, which I hollered just a little bit, because she was trying to say you never even hung out with him, you were not his friend, and he corrected her and said, no, I had never hung out with you. Did you have anything to add to that?
Get her.
I was like, I ain't gonna lie, Manny ate that one thing up, just that one thing.
Eat her
the
up.
rest, the
Get her.
rest he is talking and going on, and I'm like, this could have been 30 minutes, no more than that. But he talking over, but he ate up with that. I'm gonna put my hair behind my ears. He ate up with it.
Get
Um,
him.
and then when he said, "What about all?" We're not even gonna go back. We're not gonna go backwards. But I was like, "Oh." Um, one thing that, a couple things that he did touch on, and I was like, "Okay, see, nigga, this is where you lose me." He said, first of all, the single mother, woe is me, or single father, or no, single mother, woe is me. He was pissing me the fuck off with that shit. I do not know why men want to make it look like it is such an honorable thing for men to get with women who already have children. I will give you that. First of all, I will say it's honorable, but that does not make you Superman. You can still be ain't shit to those children and that woman. That does not mean you are God and Jesus who died on the cross for our sins just because you date a single mother. First of all, it's more likely that a woman will date a single father if you ask me, to be honest. So I mean, it's this cookie, this treatifying, like this wanting an extra cookie for shit like that. It's just so I don't know. It's very weird. He was annoying the shit out of me with that. Like he kept drilling in the fact that he took in this single mother with kids. It was annoying with a kid, a child already. As most niggas don't have children. Most black men under my age or at my age and under have children. So you are not Muhammad Ali and God mixed together just because you date a woman with children. So that was annoying to me. Also, at the point where he says you better call him dad, don't call him stepdad, nigga, who the fuck are you? First of all, that's
Yeah.
more of a southern thing, if anything. But second of all, you don't tell nobody how the fuck to call somebody. You don't even have a relationship with her daughter to do that. And I can't believe you got me up here defending this white girl because I don't even think it's their mixed children. I think it's the white girl from her previous relationship.
It
Got me up here
is.
defending this white girl. Yeah, first of all, and that's the reason why I don't know if you saw it in your algorithm when you clicked on the videos, but she also did a video about her responding. I didn't even want to put anything that her daughter put in this because, as far as I'm concerned, that is a 16-year-old child. I'm 27. I don't have no business addressing her outside of what Manny had her fucked up on. Because you don't even know her as a child to be talking to her like that. You better call him dad. Nigga, who the fuck are you? So you lost me all the way there, man. You did. You really did. And also, like Ty pointed out earlier, the talking over her, we need to be able to hear the receipts you're trying to give us. But yeah, did you have anything to add there?
So, like you were saying, the whole he kept pointing out, she was a single mom and taking her in. For me,
The providing
I
shit too. The provider shit was annoying. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. The provider shit pissed me off. Oh my god. Y'all men want to sit here and have these women that are oh so submissive and oh so this. It costs to be the boss, nigga.
I
You knew what you was getting into. It's not like they got married and she said, oh yeah, by the way, I have a kid. He knew what he was getting into.
I
It's
think
admirable that he took care of another person's child, but that he is not God for that shit. Like, but go ahead. I just wanted
I
to. That shit is driving me
I
up the wall.
I feel like he was more so me personally. I feel like he was trying to more so just get at the point, like not gold digger aspect, but I'm trying to hop on that train. You get what I'm saying?
What do you mean?
I'm
Like he's
older.
trying to. Oh, okay. I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
even. I don't
older.
even
I
get
have a
that from him. I just.
child.
Yeah.
I thought he
Which.
was trying to say that about her. Like she was not desperate, but as soon as she saw a chance, boom, she's gonna strike. Let
Yeah.
me
Which I mean,
get
at
with.
the end of the day, and at the end of the day, he may be right. But guess what? That's what you niggas sign up for. Y'all give these white women. you already know it ain't for just the fact that you're a black man. I don't know why black men have deluded themselves into that, but you already know if you come into these women, whether if you want to be a passport, bro, that's cool. You better bring your ass some pesos along the way. When you get there, cause these women ain't putting up with no bare minimum ass shit. They not gonna be eating oodles and noodles with your ass, getting it out the mud like black women do. And I wish they would stop doing that shit too. Neither here nor there. I said what I said. But anything else?
The him addressing the 15-year-old, yeah, I'm
Yes.
in agreement with you. No, my
I
jaw slightly
cringe.
unhinged after he addressed her, as far as that, him saying, oh, even though you did come to his defense and say he was always there for you, you address him as, father, dad, or whatever the case may be. No, you don't know the intimately, even though he might tell you, you don't know intimately the type of relationship between that child and him. That might be just what she called him. She might not
Hmm.
never said dad or anything like that, because I,
Most
call
kids
my
do in
dad his
step
name
parent
sometimes.
households.
Yeah, you don't know what that was like. So that, that could have been their thing.
And also, nigga,
Um,
just in general, who the fuck is you?
yeah, that I was gonna get that on that
Like, you're
too.
trying
Like
to tell
you,
Allison about her daughter, and you and Allison clearly don't even have a good relationship. That is not going to go well over. That's not smart. That was not smart. He could have left that part completely out.
yeah, and respect to him, understanding he's still going through grief over Twitch, and he was talking while in his feelings because he
Yeah,
was getting a little emotional.
I
So
think so.
again, blessings to him and respect to him. I just feel like that part, like you
Too
said, it
much.
just should have been left out. You should
Yeah.
not have addressed her, period, because again, we are talking about a child.
Yes, exactly. Um, so with that being said, that kind of rounds out our conversation. I do want to say that my takeaways are first of all, like I said earlier, black people, y'all are doing way too fucking much. All the threats, the deifying of black men that you barely even fucked with. Like, I'm just slash no. Like, I'm just being so for real. Like, Twitch, I knew he existed because of Ellen, but I do not think this was somebody that was that high. Like, to me, Twitch is more so, and let me say this, Alfonso Ribeiro, the one who played Carlton on The Fresh Prince, he has put his foot in his mouth about the black community a couple times since the white community has accepted him. Hey, that's his business, whatever. He hasn't felt accepted. And I do think we do need to have conversations about black alternative people and not necessarily stereotyping them or characterizing them, although I do think he really did play into his Carlton. Like, I think that's just him. Um, I get that vibe from him. But nonetheless, um, Twitch was kind of closer to that realm of entertainment. Like, black people really didn't, for y'all to be doing all this, how much of y'all were supporting him prior to all of this or going up to bat for him or defending him? You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that you can't get upset that somebody's grieving or no, that somebody's passed away and their spouse is doing some weird shit, but y'all are just doing way too fucking much. Way too fucking much. And I want y'all to remember y'all doing all this to a white woman. The laws is on her side, and I'm not going to be paying for your GoFundMe if you get in trouble for these internet threats. Because real talk, that's what I think needs to start happening when y'all start doing too much, just in general, not even over just this situation, but the internet threats are so weird. It is so weird. It's never that fucking serious. Agree to disagree and get the fuck on with your life. I also wanted to say choose your partners wisely. I don't want to victim blame, especially with him not being here, but Allison is a little weird for the way she's been moving, and there had to have been signs that she was a weird ass. I don't want to say call her B word. I don't talk about women like that, but she's a weird ass woman. There was some signs there, and he talked to his friends about it and confided in him. So I think the smartest thing for him to do would have been to get out of that marriage and focus on whatever co-parenting for them looked like, and we wouldn't even be in this situation. Again, not trying to victim blame, rest in peace. I hope he has found peace with the decision that he made before he took that route. And my final takeaway from there would be, mental health is imperative. We need to be having these conversations. We need to be checking with our friends, making sure that they are good, especially the ones that are the life of the parties, like the Twitches. You know, the ones that, always having people laugh and entertain. Sometimes that's their escape. They may genuinely enjoy. entertaining people, but sometimes it's a lot more than, oh, you're just a funny person. It can be a lot more complex than that. And that's kind of where I wanted to finish off with. Did you have anything else to add to that, Ty?
I have three final closing points. Two of them are yours. One of them is completely different. The
Gotcha.
first one is, like you said, be careful who you choose. Please, please, please. Even though, like you said earlier, you know, your best friend of all, however many years, months, even days,
Hmm. Yes, discernment.
can,
Discernment.
yes,
Discernment is important.
I mean, anything can happen at any point. People can change. People do change. You know, that's a part of life. It is what it is. But,
Hmm.
you know, early on, and I am in no way an advocate of this. I'm still learning and growing myself at the age of 27 when it concerns other people. Just be careful who you choose, whether it be relationship, friend, marriage, it doesn't matter. Even coworkers. Hell. The
Yeah.
second thing would be work on mental health. Again, not an advocate for mental health. I need to get mine in check. I need a therapist myself, but you know, that's neither here nor there. So, everyone, needs to work on mental health. Everyone, including me. We all need to check in, when we feel like we're checking out. And my third one will be to please have a will.
Yeah.
Have a will, lay out, you know, what you want done after you depart from this earth. And I feel like both with this situation in Twitch, and, um, what I went through personally and what I have, had friends and family members go through when losing someone, a will, it would have saved a lot of heartbreak and trouble. So those would be my three key takeaways from this.
Okay. I can get with that. It was a solid conversation. I think that went pretty well. We wasn't talking over each other like Manny and Alison.
Oh, oh,
More,
wow.
mostly
For sure.
Manny. I'm just saying. Alrighty, well that wraps up our discussion on the whole Twitch versus Allison debacle. If there's anything that I feel we need to kind of cover on, then we may come back with a smaller part two discussion. But on that note, you've been listening to Ty Squared, Ty and Ty signing out. Peace.
Peace.